Koreans have developed many kinds of soy braised dishes, and 삼합장과 is the most desirable and nutritious one. Today we are going to introduce to you an authentic Korean cuisine, 삼합장과 soy braised seafood. This dish is made of 3 kinds of seafood: mussels, abalones, and dried sea cucumbers, and braised in a soy-based sauce. In the past, only the wealthy could afford to enjoy it, but today, served as a delicacy on a respectable dinner table.
안녕하세요. Hello everyone, welcome to More Than Kimchi, and I'm your host, Young. Just about at every meal, Koreans enjoy a bowl of rice with various chorim dishes, which is cooked in soy sauce. Today we'll show you one variation called 삼합장과, soy braised seafood. Shall we first say hello to Mrs. Han Bok-sun, who will teach us this delicious seafood.
네, 안녕하십니까?
오늘도 잘 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 잘 부탁드립니다.
We also have Lee Treza with us, who will help us today's delicious dish. Hello, Eve.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this. New ingredients. I think the best way to learn is to do and to taste.
That's right, wonderful.
Thank you.
So before we start cooking, why don't we take a look at the ingredients? 삼합장과, 삼합 literally means 3 things combined. So we have 3 kinds of seafood. Here we have mussels, sea cucumbers. These, some of you probably are not familiar. These are, you buy dried forms and it's been soaked in water for a long time. We can talk about it a little bit more later. We also have abalone is here. And sometimes in Korean market, you can buy already shelled ones,
yes.
which is very convenient. And for a little bit of flavoring, we have beef, we have garlic, ginger, and green onions. And later for garnish, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of powdered pine nuts. And today the sauce is quite simple. We have soy sauce, and we have sesame oil, sugar, and pepper. That's it. So why don't we start now, Mrs. Han?
먼저 오늘
Yeah.
하는 거는 고기하고 해물을 같이 섞어서 간장에 졸이는 거예요.
So basically, as I mentioned, chorim dishes, you are braising the ingredients in soy sauce. So we're going to prepare beef before we cook. And what we will do is put a little bit of sauce.
If I can do something.
Yes,
because
there,
I
right
think
here.
the best way to learn is to work along with. Should I get this?
Yeah, you're
All
just slicing as Mrs. Han does.
네.
And
Yes.
as I said, beef is not really the main ingredient, but we want the beef
네.
flavoring with the seafood.
Yes.
So you just slice
it's
it.
interesting that you mix meat and seafood.
Yeah, that's usually,
we're not
you know,
used to
that's-
that.
yeah, right.
We usually
And-
do one or the other.
That's right. So that's one characteristic of Korean food is you want to mix a lot of different ingredients in one dish. So,
기름기가
right.
없어야 되겠어요.
Yeah. So for this dish, you don't want too much fat. As you can see, the meat is very
lean.
Very
Yes,
lean.
I see that.
Yes. And then we'll put a spice there,
그래서
seasoning.
제가 양념을
Yeah.
다 함께 할게요.
I'm
And
coming.
And you know,
그래요.
this is one thing in the Korean food. We don't really cook beef the way it is. What we do is we,
Sorry.
I'll take that one. We always put a little bit of seasoning before we cook the beef. So. But we call mitgan, the base seasoning. So Mrs. Han is putting a little bit of soy sauce. This is sesame oil, and then a little bit of sugar. So this is what we call mitgan. Literally, it means base seasoning. So before you cook, we always put some, seasonings on
Any
beef.
meat you would prepare, you could use this sauce.
Yes,
This
yes.
basic sauce.
And it's very similar to bulgogi sauce, except we are not putting those garlic and ginger. We
Yes.
are not putting that yet. But here we have.
So it's like a marinade.
That's
It's-
right.
it's
So
a
we will,
marinade.
let it aside for a while to marinate. 2 forms you can buy, mussels. Sometimes you buy fresh, right with the shells. Then of course you blanch it. Then you can get out, or sometimes you can buy fresh mussels.
Yes, I've seen
just
it
the
like
way
this
it
in
is.
plastic bags
Yes,
with a
yes. And
little
they are not
seawater.
cooked yet.
Yes,
That's right.
그래요. 그래서 끓는 물에다가 여기에다가 이제 살짝만
We just have to
데쳐주는데
parboil it. And this is very handy. You don't have to worry about the hairy stuff or salt and those things.
보면은 요 안에 지금 여기에 이렇게 이런 이제
Right, yeah,
하는 것이
right.
있죠. 그러니까 이런 거는 떼어내셔야 되겠어요.
So
보이시죠?
after you parboil, you know, inside you have those hair, and then
you
you just
cut it off.
cut that off.
This is for decoration or just for us to know
For
that
us
this
to
is
know
the,
yes,
the
definitely.
original
You
look?
can buy this way or the convenient way,
Yes.
which is already shelled.
Yes.
So you can buy either way. So parboiling, just a minute. So this one, the purpose is not to, you know, to cook. You just want to blanch it. So that way you can clean the intestine and the hair
And
inside
then you
to
can
clean
use
up.
it for any other dish. But
That's
it's not
right.
cooked yet.
It's not
This
cooked yet,
still-
just
yeah.
parboiling. And as Mrs. Han showed, inside you want to take off the hair and then a little bit of intestine left there.
그다음에는 이거 전복이요.
Yeah.
전복은 지금 저기에다가 살짝만
This is the
쪄주세요.
abalone.
예.
This is the abalone, and we're
And
going
what
to
should I do?
parboil. Shall we put it inside? Yeah, we'll steam it.
Okay, so I just put it in the
Yes.
steamer.
Right. Two
잠깐만 넣어서
abalone.
뚜껑을 덮어서
And how long will this take?
Just only about
5분 정도?
about only 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
So again, same purpose. You don't want to really cook fully, but just parboiling before we start.
그다음에는 지금 여기에 해삼이 있는데 아까 말씀대로 이게
Now, these I've never seen.
This I would like you to touch. It looks a little gross to the sun, but this is a real gourmet food and very, very
But
nutritious
How
food.
would I see it in the market? Is this the way I would see it, or would have a
You
different
can
appearance?
buy either from, you can buy real fresh ones, which you don't want to, I don't recommend for this dish because fresh sea cucumber, when you boil it, it loses its shape. So you need to buy dried form.
So you would buy it like this?
Right. And I also would like to recommend when you buy, the darker color is supposed to be a better flavor, and the rough edge, you know, it's not smooth.
No, no, absolutely
yeah,
not.
Those
Yeah.
are very important when you buy.
So spongy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is spongy, yeah. And then we call this sea cucumber because it's almost
You want me to
look
cut
like
this one?
Yeah, let's do
이렇게
that.
cut it.
Just slice them.
그 오이같이 생겼기
Yeah.
때문에
Right.
그렇게 얘기하죠.
It's an interesting name, sea cucumber.
Sea cucumber. I've
Yes.
never seen it. I've never heard
And
of
this is a very, you know, common ingredient for Korean, not only for Korean food, also, you know, for Chinese food too. What shall we do next?
네. 그다음에는 이제 양념을 넣어야 돼요. 양념 넣는 거는
So after you slice these cucumbers, we need to put some seasonings. The
Is this
mussels are
a
here.
dish from a particular region of Korea, or is it something?
This actually is like a side dish we can talk about later more. And this is originally from the palace. Because in old days, in all this seafood, of course, it's not that easy for common people to get them.
So this was considered precious.
Oh,
rather,
yes,
these
yes,
ingredients
right.
were rather precious.
Definitely. Nowadays, I mean, you can get them very easily at the supermarket, but in old days, usually only for the royal family will have this kind of special treat. So here we are preparing the seasoning for the both braising.
세 가지를
Right.
같이
So we have
넣어서
3
넣을게요.
kinds. As I introduced you before, we have garlic, and we have ginger and green onions. And this one is a little different from other dishes. In Korean dish, usually we chop them. We chop garlic, we chop ginger. But for this dish, for the look, we want to have the neat look, so we'll just slice them. That way the sauce is not very messy.
I see. So you keep the ingredients, and so they look like the original.
Yes, yes.
All right.
이거는 건질하기보다
예.
이제 이 해물의
예.
그 비린 맛이나 이런 거를 갖다 이제 없애주려는 효과가 제일 크겠죠.
So, you know, as you probably use ginger a lot, ginger and garlic, you know, green onion will do the role of eliminating some of the seafood smell.
Smell. I see. She wants me to do
That's
this.
right, yes, that's right. You're here to learn.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to learn is to do. So
And with Korean food, slicing and chopping is a very important skill. You know, we don't really use big
You have very good knives. I see. I have to be careful.
You know, also I mentioned it's a side dish because what Koreans do is we always have a bowl of rice and then we
Yes.
have lots of side dish.
Yes.
So now we are ready to, you know, braise this whole thing together. So
여기다가 먼저
Almost ready.
마찬가지로
almost ready.
같이 졸여주시면 되겠네요.
So shall I?
저기도.
And then for
네,
sauce, you have
지금요.
soy sauce.
So I should
간장을
put
갖다가
how many spoons?
네, 그러니까 100에
예.
대해서
예.
한 큰술 넣으시면 되겠어요.
So for 100 gram, you are putting 1 tablespoon. So
지금부터
for
세
now,
큰술
let's put
넣으세요.
about 3 tablespoons of soy sauce.
You say 100 grams of all these other ingredients.
Yes, beef or seafood.
그다음에 설탕은 요거의 반 정도.
And then half of the soy sauce amount, which is 1.5 tablespoons of sugar.
This is the sugar.
Yes,
And
1.5.
1.5.
Yes.
물을
And then we
간장량과 거의
this
같게
water.
좀 넣으세요.
Almost same amount as the soy sauce, which is about 3 tablespoons.
불을 켜주시면 이제 좀 끓여줘요.
then we turn the
So it's like
heat
it's a
on.
little sweet sour,
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah,
With the sugar
yeah.
and the soy.
Right.
You know, the
Well, we
contrast.
wouldn't put much. We don't put vinegar this time, but it's the soy sauce, and then you might think soy sauce is slightly sour.
A,
but
a little
yeah,
tangy,
tangy,
and
yeah.
then with the
And
sugar, so you get a
yeah.
contrasting.
It's a very nice combination,
Yes.
soy sauce and sugar.
먼저 여기
Yes.
조금 이제 끓는 느낌이 날 때
So once it start boiling there, we're
만들어주세요.
gonna use beef. We'll share this.
여기다가
This is the one we seasoned before.
Yes.
So you cook the beef first, and this is for flavoring. You know, beef flavoring added to the seafood. And then we will stir a little bit.
So chorim means soy sauce. or
Chorim is
soy based.
it refers to the method of cooking,
the
which
method.
you are braising in soy,
Soy sauce.
Yes, and of course you put other than soy sauce, but soy sauce is the main
basis,
main
yes.
sauce. You have to wait a little
생강하고
bit.
just
저기
go along.
만들어요. 고기 냄새
네,
나지
여기다
않게.
주시면은.
네.
So we are adding a little bit of
Of
Oh, you
garlic.
put yours too there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I put some garlic.
Garlic and then ginger and then green
Ginger.
onion.
Okay.
So we'll just cook until beef turns brown.
So you don't put the onions yet.
네.
We'll put
그다음에
this
요거 한번
better.
주시겠어요? 한번 요거 냄비를 채로 주시면 그 안에
예.
이제 전복이 됐겠죠. 그다.
there.
예. 이러면은 여기에
We haven't forgotten the abalone yet.
이것도
So that's
네, 됐어요.
so these have been washed with salt water and then been steamed very briefly. That's what you did. Shall we slice it?
이것도 예, 이것도 잘
This one I'm
됐어요.
gonna ask you to slice. Why don't we put this?
Let me just
here.
look.
Yes. So again, it's slicing, and it's important to have all the fruit in a uniform size, as
Yes.
you would do with
So
the
it
sea
cooks more or
cucumber.
less.
The same,
Same
right.
time.
And as you know, we don't use knife, so it's important to cut all the ingredients as the serving. I mean the bite size.
So I put this in.
So you have beef and the sea cucumber, and then here we have the mussels.
It seems like more than a side dish because
Yes,
it's
uh-huh.
quite nutritious.
Quite
no?
nutritious, yeah. And today we have quite an amount, but to show you. But in general, for side dish, the amount is not that big because you have a lot of other different side
I
dishes.
understand. So now the onions.
onions.
먼저 넣으세요.
Right.
저것도 전복도.
This
So we
abalone.
put the
yeah.
abalone and also the green
The
onions.
onions.
Yes.
조리는 시간은
예.
뭐 한 5분에서 10분 정도면 되겠어요.
Yeah. So for cooking time, for braising it, you don't really, it doesn't take too long because these are, seafood. It's
Yes.
only for 5 to 10 minutes would be.
Yeah.
I just keep it here, the
Yes,
abalone.
yeah, and then we'll put it in. Abalone, Asians really love abalones, and then
오래
they're good.
하면은 이게
Right.
질겨지거든요.
That's right. And as you know, for seafood, if you cook too long, they become tough. So
exactly.
it's important not to cook too long, just about 5 to 10 minutes. Shall we cover this or shall we leave it this way, Mrs. Han? Shall we cover it?
아니요, no.
Yes. Okay.
Año.
You know that.
Yes, I know
right?
이렇게 해서
So it's important to stir it once in a while so the
Yes.
seasoning gets evenly to all the ingredients. So let's just stir it once in a while.
끝으로
Yeah.
참기름.
Right.
A little
Yeah,
sesame oil.
yeah. So once it's all cooked, we want to put the sesame oil. The purpose is not only for the flavoring, but also it gives a very nice gloss, look to the food. So it's important to put it at the last
Like a little
minute.
varnish.
Yes,
It's done.
right. And then put a little bit of pepper.
Pepper.
Last touch. Smells wonderful.
Yes. Now the abalone, where would you buy the abalone? At the seafood market?
Seafood market or supermarket.
Or supermarket.
Any supermarket if you go to
In the
fish
shell?
corner.
It would be in the shell.
Yes,
It would be in the
definitely.
shell.
다 됐으니까
Yeah.
이제 불을
Shall we
끄시고요.
turn it off? So it's all ready.
It's ready.
볼게요.
Yes. I can smell the ginger
So shall I
and
put some in
the
the-
black pepper.
이렇게. 아주 그래도 이제 조금 하면서 맨 끝으로 이렇게
예.
양념을 넣어야만이 그 향이 그대로
그렇죠.
있다는 거 말씀.
So remember, we put the pepper at the last
At the last
step
minute,
and
and the
also
sesame oil.
That really gives a nice addition.
풍성하게.
Eve, you did a wonderful job. Smells
thank you.
really good and
Thank you.
looks wonderful.
Yes. Good smell.
So here, so as I mentioned before, on ordinary Korean table, you probably wouldn't serve in a large bowl, large plate, because it's one of the side dishes.
Sure.
So what we do is, smaller plate with
Yes.
lots of other side
It's
dishes.
also more aesthetic to
Yes,
have just
yes.
this small. Now, what is
This is the
I forget?
powdered, pine nuts. It's
Pine
a
nut,
last
yes.
touch, and garnish gives a nice kind of classy look to the
Yes, lovely.
삼합장과.
Yes,
Yes, looks
lovely
very nice. So this is 삼합장과 that we prepared today. So what do you think of today's recipe?
I think it's not too difficult. I can handle it. I
Good.
think I could redo it on my own.
So do you think you might prepare this with your rice?
I might try for foreign guests.
Foreign guests?
Not for
Yeah,
Koreans. I wouldn't dare
no,
for
I
Koreans.
think Koreans will be very impressed too. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. This is 삼합장과. Now I'd like to review our whole procedure one more time.
It is customary for Koreans who have rice as their staple to serve lots of side dishes on their dinner table. One of the most favored side dishes for Koreans is jolim, or soy braised dishes. Korean housemakers prize them because they are easy to preserve so as to save them the bother of making side dishes at every meal. All sorts of materials are cooked in this manner. Other Korean side dishes that have a long shelf life, along with jodim, include kimchi, 장아찌, or pickled vegetables. For the stock of a jodim dish, one needs condiments such as soy sauce, starch syrup, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. When traveling the Korean countryside, you can see many Koreans are threshing and winnowing yellow soybeans for making meju, or brick of soybean. To enjoy the fresh taste of traditional soy sauce from early springtime, meju, or brick of soybean, has to be made several months earlier. That's why Koreans make meju, from which the soy sauce is made every autumn. To make soybean bricks, steam yellow soybeans in a big kettle. Once the yellow soybeans are fully steamed, pound them to a fine pulp while they are still hot, and shape them into several square bricks, pressing each of them tightly. Soybean bricks are hung up one by one at the edge of eaves of the house to be completely dried in the sun. To make soy sauce, strain salt water through a fine sieve into a crock and layer dried soybean bricks in it. Float the dried red peppers and burnt charcoals in the crock. Charcoals are known to absorb the bad smell of soy sauce, and red peppers are believed to sterilize it. One of the most favored ingredients for jodim dishes is yangun, or lotus root. When it is opened up, you can see a flower-like interior. To make yangun jodim, or soy braised lotus root, pour soy sauce in a pan. Add some water when it begins to boil, and put some starch syrup to give the dish sweetness and a gloss. When the stock begins to bubble, reduce the heat and put sliced lotus roots into it. Simmer them until the sauce is thoroughly blended with the lotus root, so the color becomes light brown. Lotus root has a crisp texture and is also full of healthy substances. Soy-based sauce is also a good medium for treating fish. Sangsan jodim, or soy braised fish, is very much enjoyed in Korea. Although the basic stock for braising doesn't change much, Koreans used to add red bean paste or red pepper, garlic and ginger to get rid of the fishy scent for red meat fish. The most favored soy braised fish dishes in Korea are godongo jodim, or mackerel, and galchi jodim, soy braised cutlass fish. An addition of sliced potatoes or radishes and green onions will make the dish more savory. Jangachi, pickled vegetables, are one variation of side dishes using soy sauce. They are saltier than jodium dishes and more suitable for preservation. To get a better understanding of jangachi, let us briefly show you how to make sesame leaves in soy sauce. First, boil soy sauce and let stand for a while until it cools. Sprinkle sesame seeds on it and pour the boiled soy sauce over layered sesame leaves. 2 or 3 days later, you can enjoy sesame leaves flavored in soy sauce. As you can see in this picture, traditional soy sauce is kept in crocks and placed in courtyards of dwellings. Among Korean sauces, soy sauce is the most prized and frequently used one. That's why they say, the taste of our dishes lies in the taste of our soy sauce.
So finally, we get to taste what we've been working very hard, 삼합장과.
I can't wait.
듭시다. Yes. 선생님 하시겠어요? I think Mrs. Han will serve first.
뭐가 맛있을까?
With a little bit of sauce.
네.
Is there some
네.
abalone? Because that's what I'm
yes,
curious
that's
about,
right.
the abalone.
We have abalone, sea
Yes.
cucumber.
And the sea cucumber, which is the eternal food, so that
Yes, sure.
we must have a taste of.
There. So the pine nuts gives a nice addition, not only the look, but also nice flavor. You will enjoy the nutty flavor.
Yes, and also
Yeah.
the garlic, which you keep in pieces like this, because we also cook with garlic, but
Is that right?
but we don't keep it in such whole pieces. It's more either a paste, or as soon as it's cooked a little bit, we take it out.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting
But
to
we
try.
love garlic. We
No,
want
I
to
don't.
enjoy garlic very much. So as I mentioned, it has a soy flavor that goes very well with the rice. So we do always serve with the rice, or serve rice with these side dishes.
Delicious.
Yes.
Let me try the sea cucumber.
Yeah.
This is it.
That's sea cucumber.
Okay, I want to
I
try
want to
this.
see if you have abalone there. Try that. I'll find some abalone for you. abalone 눈에 안 띄네요. 지금 어디 있어요?
여기 있네요.
요거요?
Very new
여기?
taste for me.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
new
Is
taste.
that right? Yeah. Yeah, there.
It's a little gelatinous, no? A little
Yeah, it's kind of chewy.
A little
Yeah.
chewy, but quite soft.
Yeah. So for sea cucumber, sometimes so we love the raw sea cucumber too. We use
Raw.
raw. We
Also
use
raw.
raw with red paste, vinegar red paste, which is very delicious. For this kind of dish, you shouldn't use raw cucumber. You always use the dry ones. So that way it keeps its shape.
중국 요리하고 다른 게
yeah.
나중에 녹말을 안 넣는 거가 다르겠죠.
And one thing that Mrs. Han pointed out, the difference from Chinese food is we are not using starch. Usually Chinese food, the last step is you mix with the starch and water to thicken the
To
sauce.
thicken the sauce, that's
so
right.
this one, you are just using the sauce the way it is without corn flour.
So the basic ingredients are extremely important here.
Yes,
because
yes,
you're
yeah.
not giving any additives.
You're not adding, there's not much. And the seasoning was quite simple today.
Yes.
Yeah. So this palace food is not only accompanying your rice, but it's an excellent accompaniment with drink. King used to enjoy his drink, alcoholic beverage,
Sure,
with
because it's
this
a little
dish.
salty,
Yes,
so it makes you drink. Yeah.
That's right. So whenever you sit down to a Korean dinner table, you can't miss various chorim dishes. Today we showed you an excellent example, 삼합장과, soy sauce braised seafood. If you haven't tried any chorim dishes yet, I hope you do try next time, and I guarantee the result would be wonderful. Thank you, Mrs. Han and Eve, for joining
Thank you.
today.
Thank you very
Hope
much.
to see you soon. 안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요.